This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Shocking news out of Winnipeg City Hall today. Long-standing Elmwood East Kildonan councillor Jason Schreier has died. Council abruptly adjourned its scheduled meeting. Many of his colleagues are remembering him as a champion for the less fortunate who loved to use his voice. CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
A brief, emotional council meeting. Lasting less than 5 minutes, Mayor Scott Gillingham quickly asked for adjournment.
Of this council meeting until 9:30, Friday, May the 2nd, and later this morning I'll provide more information as to the reason for the adjournment.
Tuesday evening, council members were informed that Elmwood East Kildonan councillor Jason Schreier had died suddenly. Schreier was 57, a husband and father of 2. The son of a political giant, former Manitoba Premier and Governor General Ed Schreier.
Councillor Jason Schreier.
Jason Schreier was elected to council in 2014 and re-elected twice.
He's a passionate advocate for people's affordability, to make sure people can afford to live in Winnipeg, and that we work hard to make city services affordable for people.
Among Schreier's top issues, the rising cost of construction inflation and its impact on the city budget.
So when we say there's inflation everywhere, it's our job to say where exactly, because not all inflation is the same.
Outside of City Hall, Schreier had a reputation as a deep thinker with a passion for singing.
Got what we got.
He brought an excitement to council. He was very motivated. Just thinking of construction inflation, which he pretty well brought up every council meeting.
Someone said on council that I was probably one of the people that understood him best. He really had an ability to talk at the conceptual level.
Jason was very adept and loved the French language, and you know, I think would want to be remembered for that as well. So.
The mayor says other councillors have offered to help Schreier's executive assistant keep the ward office going until the by-election is held to choose a replacement. A date for that by-election will be determined at a later point. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A recent Brandon emergency room assault has the nurses' union calling for more security. Early Monday morning, a man choked and attempted to stab an emergency room nurse with a needle. Union President Darlene Jackson says the attack is part of a troubling trend, making nurses nervous. She says they need more institutional safety officers, security guards who are trained as peace officers in the workplace.
It's like when you have a police officer present, you know, people generally become orderly if they're disorderly. So I think having ISOs throughout this entire province is something that we really need, and we need to see lots of them, clearly.
The health region says it's increasing security at the hospital. Currently, there are 2 guards on shift at all times in the ER, including a trained peace officer. The attack at the Vancouver Lapu Lapu Day Festival has left many members of Winnipeg's Filipino community hurting. Last night, hundreds paid their respects at a vigil. While the tragedy happened far away from our city, it's cutting people here deep. The CBC's Ian Fraze reports.
One by one, Filipinos in Winnipeg grieve for those lost and injured on Saturday, when a driver slammed into a Vancouver street festival celebrating their culture. 11 are dead, dozens more injured.
Last night I can't sleep because for me they're all family. We are all family because they are Filipino.
In Winnipeg, more than 300 people attended a vigil. Standing room only, people cried, ushers handed out tissues. Then, as a violinist played a traditional Filipino song about loss, mourners approached a table lined with candles and photos of the victims. The violinist kept playing as people kept lining up.
The family that lost their mother, father, kids, and something like that, and grandfather, and I wish I can hug them and give my regard to them.
Organizer Jeline De La Cruz says Filipinos everywhere are feeling the loss.
We have this value, this word called kapwa, which means that when you hurt, when you go through hardship, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, I do too. We all do.
She knows a father and his 2-year-old son who were injured in the attack. The child remains in intensive care.
We are a relentless people, and we will get through this.
This couple says relatives plan to go to that street festival that day, but changed their mind.
Right away, we called them, and thanks to God, they're all free.
Leaders from different faith groups also spoke.
If you need an auntie, if you need a shoulder, please call, please come.
A message of love for a community in need. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Fire crews in Winkler battled flames and smoke for hours yesterday afternoon at a hotel on Main Street. Emergency crews rushed to the Quality Inn and Suites when fire was spotted on the roof. The hotel says all guests, staff, and pets inside the building got out safely and no one was hurt. It will remain closed while the investigation continues. Guests with existing reservations will be contacted by the hotel directly. Manitoba's government is pouring $500,000 into the fight against aquatic invasive species. One of the worst is zebra mussels. The province is announcing money to support community efforts to prevent the spread of invasive species. Some projects could include watercraft cleaning or high-pressure washers. Environment Minister Mike Moyes says the province is doing what it can, but everyone has a role to play.
We really need to do our part, each and every one of us, to clean, drain, and dry anytime you're putting watercraft in, or even other things that are going to be going into the water, like toys and whatnot. Sometimes that's things that aren't thought of.
Despite this, zebra mussels are still spreading in Manitoba. The species infiltrated Clear Lake in 2023, and Parks Canada now says removing them from the lake is not feasible. Well, the Winnipeg Whiteout is back in Winnipeg as the Jets meet the St. Louis Blues tonight for Game 5. But before the puck drops, CBC's Gavin Axelrod gives us a look at how some of that whiteout gear you see is made.
It's all hands on deck here at Dreamcatcher Promotions, making sure every time the Winnipeg Jets hit the ice in the playoffs, there's enough of these white towels for this.
We printed 90,000 towels so far for round one, and we've printed close to 15,000 of the apparel and hats that go into the Jet stores. So we've been pumping out white for about a good month now.
Owner Michelle Cameron says being able to print all that whiteout merchandise is a dream come true.
I was there in attendance for the first game, and I cried really happy tears because it was nice to see the fruits of our labor.
She also says there's a lot of pride that an Indigenous-owned local business gets to work with the hometown team during the most important time of the year.
It's hope that we can do this, and there's opportunities that we've never seen before. So for me, that's why this is such a proud moment for me, right? Because we're setting the bar and we're setting up a path for other Indigenous entrepreneurs to have.
And after all those towels and pieces of apparel are printed, they end up in jet skier locations like the one here at Canada Life Centre.
It's been flying for sure off the shelves. It's been very busy.
Rishi Chandar with True North says whiteout merch from other local partners is also popular, like these crew necks designed by Winnipeg artist Cal Barteski and shirts from Zawike, to name a few.
It's important as well, too. I mean, to the community, the fans. They want to connect with, I think, local brands and local attire as well, too. It just makes it unique and different.
Back at Dreamcatcher Promotions, the printers aren't slowing down anytime soon. They want to be outbidding fans all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Time now to bring in Riley Lachuk. And Riley, lots of people getting ready to head down there if they're not already. Puck drop starts at 8:30 tonight.
Yeah, and we're looking at actually a pretty pleasant evening. I know we've been in and out of the cloud cover a little bit here in southern Manitoba. I wanted to show you just a couple little pop-up showers. And yes, that's some embedded lightning in some of this just outside of Steinbach through the late afternoon. So It's the season. We're getting into thunder shower season here, so do expect that in the next few months here. Looking further south and east, a bit more of a steadier rain into northwestern Ontario that continues as we get through the night tonight. Behind that, though, a bit of clearing, so partly cloudy sky tonight in Winnipeg, actually getting up to 18.9 in the city this afternoon, and yes, cracking 20 into Westman, Brandon, Melita, 7 degrees in Thompson this afternoon. So some clearing as we get through the night, 3 degrees overnight in Winnipeg, waking up another single-digit morning, pretty seasonal for this time of the year at +5 with a north wind gusting up to 30. And we'll get into a mix of sun and clouds once we get into the afternoon. Again, another seasonal day, 14 degrees in Winnipeg, double digits for the weekend, and high 20s even by the time we get to Sunday. I'll have more on that coming up.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, the end of the Vietnam War led to one of the largest refugee migrations in the world. After the break, the story on 2 women who came to Winnipeg. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon. The end of the Vietnam War led to one of the largest refugee migrations in the world. Nearly 1 million people fled the region and the new communist regime. CBC's Darren Bernhardt has the story of 2 women who as little girls were forced to leave their homes.
This is Chow Pham in 1983. Her parents made the painful choice to send her away while they remained back in South Vietnam with a newborn. She was 5.
And I couldn't quite piece together what was going on, but I knew it was not right. In the eyes of a 5-year-old, I knew that I was losing my family.
On April 30th, 1975, South Vietnam's capital, Saigon, fell to Northern Communist forces, ending the Vietnam War. Pham was among refugees who risked the South China Sea for freedom. They became known as the Boat People. Close to 1 million people eventually fled Vietnam, but also Cambodia and Laos. They went to refugee camps before being sponsored to new countries. Stephanie Stobie was 4 when her family abandoned their lives in Laos in 1977. They hung laundry outside, then slipped away in a canoe. They paddled the Mekong River, avoiding rocks, whirlpools, and more.
And there were soldiers on both sides of the river. We had the Lao soldiers who were told to shoot anyone trying to escape the country. And then you had the Thai soldiers who were told to shoot anyone trying to enter Thailand.
They reached Thailand, were sheltered overnight by a family, then hiked 12 hours to a camp. Everything they owned in a single suitcase Stobie keeps to this day.
Because it represents all the things that we were able to bring with us, or the only things we were able to bring with us here to Canada.
Both women witnessed tragedy. Pham saw people suffer starvation and dehydration during 10 days on the sea. Many swallowed urine because they couldn't drink the salty seawater. Pham then spent more than 2 years in a Thai refugee camp. Sick with tuberculosis, she couldn't be sponsored to another country until she was healthy. She saw even more hardship there.
People were so desperate, forced to take their own life because they didn't see hope.
Pham, who was reunited with her family in Winnipeg in 1990, is now a doctor. Stobie is an expert in conflict resolution studies. Both women say their career paths were shaped as children of war. Darren Bernhardt, CBC News, Winnipeg.
RCMP believe a fire that destroyed the new band office in Bunabonabee Cree Nation was arson. Early Sunday morning, Oxford House RCMP were called to the building finding smoke. They say within a very short time it was engulfed in flames and no one was hurt. RCMP has spoken to a number of witnesses but are looking for anyone who has information. It's a story about a cruel bet made among young men at a time in the tumultuous 1960s. U.S. soldiers try to find the least attractive date in order to win a pot of cash before shipping out to Vietnam. With emotions on the line, it becomes much more than a game. That's the premise of Dogfight, the musical. CBC's Shanalee Vidal has more.
Whoa!
The Marines in this show, Dogfight, have decided to throw a party called the Dogfight, where whoever brings the ugliest date to the party wins the pot, all the money.
The musical premiered off-Broadway in 2012. It's based on the 1991 film of the same name.
The ugliest woman wins $100 for the guy who brings her. I'm the ugliest.
Set in 1963 America, the movie was controversial for its portrayal of women, but was praised by critics for its emotional exploration.
Composers responsible for Dogfight are Pasek and Paul, who many people will know. They've composed The Greatest Showman, they've written Dear Evan Hansen, James and the Giant Peach, and the music is absolutely incredible. It's so powerful. Let me take you out. Hey.
It actually takes place the day before JFK was assassinated, and then that kind of veil was stripped away, and they shipped all these people off to Vietnam, which is where our Marines are heading.
Stadnick says the biggest challenge of the musical is the content itself.
The material is pretty thick with misogyny and just bad language and treating humans poorly. The whole point of that is to have a moment at the end where we see our lead female character just crack open our Marines a little bit with her natural empathy and compassion.
Dry Cold Productions was founded more than 20 years ago. The idea was to produce musicals that hadn't yet been seen in Winnipeg.
We've grown into being the company in the city that does the most contemporary of musical theater. So a little bit more cutting edge. Some level, we're doing what we are afraid no one else will do.
Shanalee Vidal, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Riley's back in. It was a beautiful day outside today. I know I had a hard time trying to get the pup inside as I had to leave for work. I had a little mopey dog walking back inside.
Well, you know what? There'll be plenty of sun on the weekend.
That's
stay
true.
outside all day.
Exactly. She'll want to.
A little bit of rain this morning. It was a little bit wet this morning, and actually a much needed rain for some of us across the province. I want to show you where we are. This is from Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, and this is a 90-day, so a 3-month or so running total of the precipitation we've seen. And last week we saw some of that snow, some of that rain in parts of western Manitoba. Well, look at what a good rain does. Actually brings us closer to that normal mark into that southwestern corner of the province. But we've shifted some of that dry weather into the Interlake, and even here in the Red River Valley, over the last 3 months at least, we've gotten about half of the normal amount of precipitation we should have heading into the spring season. So yes, we are looking at some warm 20-degree temperatures as we head into the weekend, but you know what? A good soaking rain is something that I think many across the province would enjoy, especially right about now. So a little bit of cloud cover. The rest of that rain in northwestern Ontario pushes off through the night. We start with a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, then we start to see the next system start to move in. This does bring a little bit of rain, more so of a snow event into parts of northern Manitoba through the early morning tomorrow. So places like Norway House, the Paw probably getting a few flurries into the morning. This doesn't really materialize much as it makes its way into the Red River Valley, but certainly into Westman, into the Parkland. Do expect some periods of rain, or at the very least some scattered showers as we head through the afternoon. It just kind of fizzles out here in the Red River Valley as it pushes south of the border. Behind that, we start to get some high pressure starting to set in time for the weekend, and that is going to really allow some of that warm southerly air right up into the prairie provinces. So that ridge has started to build into the west. Look at what happens, though, as we advance into the weekend, particularly on Sunday. This really warm pocket of air shifts a little bit further east, and that's going to really drive some of that air up into southern Manitoba and really across the province, looking at what I would call a banner spring weekend for this time of the year. Some of the longer range forecast models actually putting some locations in southern Manitoba even as high as 30 degrees as we head into the day on Sunday. That starts to break down as we get into Monday, but we'll keep the temperatures at least in the low 20s as we head into the 7-day forecast to mid next week, which I'll show you in just a bit. Overnight temperatures 2-3 degrees really across the south. Still maybe a few lingering showers into northwestern Ontario, 1 degree in Dauphin. A bit cooler in the north, -8 in Thompson, getting up to +4 in the afternoon tomorrow. A few showers through the day into Westman, 16 in Brandon, and Brittany will try for 14 degrees tomorrow in Winnipeg. I'll have your 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, Jets fans are ready for another whiteout, but one fan may take the cake. We'll have more on that straight after this.
All right, let's do your dog walking forecast for your Thursday. Austin and Dakota very eagerly awaiting a walk. Thank you, Arnie. Going to be a great day for that tomorrow. You can send your pictures into talkback@cbc.ca. So maybe a bit of a crisp morning as we head into your Thursday. 14 degrees by the afternoon, fairly seasonal for this time of the year. Bit of a northeasterly breeze, but other than that, I do expect we'll see a little bit more sunshine tomorrow than we saw today. 14 degrees, very similar for Friday. Into Friday morning, maybe a few sprinkles coming. But then look at the 7-day here. 25 for Saturday. Let's try for 27 into Sunday. 23 on Monday. Slight chance maybe that we see a few showers through the day. And temperatures staying in the 20s for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Well, tonight the Winnipeg Jets are back in action here at home, of course. And while it will be a packed house inside and outside the arena.
Of course. Jets fans around the world will be watching closely to see if the team can pull off a win tonight, including Riley, one fan who's in Nunavut. Take a look in our Daily Lift.
All I can see around me is ice. And a tradition of deep ice core drilling from around the world is that you put up a flag line for all of the countries and all of the nationalities that are taking part. So we have a flag line that begins with Nunavut and goes to Canada and includes Denmark and Brazil and the United States and Australia and France and all of the different countries represented in the project. And I thought it was appropriate this year that we add a Jets flag at the end of the line.
So that is University of Manitoba Research Associate David Babb, who is currently up north doing a study on sea ice conditions and climate in the Arctic. He packed this Jets flag along with him and posted a pic from the top of the world, which the team reposted. He says he has been waiting to be able to do this for a long time.
I thought it was super cool. I thought it was awesome. I've been working in the Arctic for about 15 years, and I've always wanted, ever since the Jets came back, I've always wanted to be a part of a whiteout while I'm up in the north. And unfortunately, previous years, either I wasn't up when they were in the playoffs or they didn't make the playoffs when I was up north. But this year it all lined up, so it's been great.
Says they do have Starlink, so he's been watching up there, although he is the only fan.
Yeah, well, so I actually have a stat for you here. The nearest weather station is CFB Alert. The high there where he was today, minus 13 degrees.
Whew, you could see with all of the ice. He is a true whiteout fan there.
Exactly. No shortage of snow up there.
Exactly. Game tonight, 8:30 puck drop. Go
Enjoy
Jets,
it.
go.
See ya.
See you tomorrow.